welcome to another chat with one of Phenomenal Elite Wrestling's premier wrestlers. It's Jason Joshua.
Hello. That was very, very kind.
Of course. This is only the second one of these we've done, so we're still finding our feet with the format and stuff like that. But basically, what we do with these chats is just let you viewers learn a little bit more about the amazing wrestlers we have on our roster. And Jason Joshua is our second guest we've had, and he wrestled not once but twice at the very first PW show. So how did you find the first show?
I'll call it chaotic fun. I really enjoyed it. But it was just mostly me getting hit. So
well, someone's got to be that man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Fun.
you seem to be definitely popular with the crowd. What your stuff got over very well. Like, people are into it, which is what's important.
Yeah. The more I've been willing to make a fool of myself, the better I seem to be doing at wrestling.
Yeah, no, that works. I mean, a lot of people can, and it is a serious thing, but some people can take it just way too seriously, I think. Back in, I don't know if you know, I wrestled a long time ago. And in my day, we had a lot of people in our locker room that were very like, this is serious. I don't want to lose. I don't want to make a fool of myself. I don't want to embarrass myself. But it's not about that. It's about entertaining people and giving people a good time.
Yeah. I'm serious in the aspect that I want to keep everyone safe and everyone happy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Properly. But I'm also, like, you would have seen one of my major moves is sticking my groin in people's faces. I wear a singlet in donuts because it's funny. My next singlet, I'm planning to just get my boyfriend's face.
Nice. Okay, that works.
No one. It would just be someone's face on my singlet. But
I like it. Yeah, I think with your groin attack, I did on commentary call it a little bit stiff.
Yes. You called it a little bit stiff, and I can't remember. It might have been you said I wouldn't call that Greco-Roman wrestling.
Sounds about right, but it probably was.
Which broke. I don't know which one of you it was, but it broke me when I heard it for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, that was good. It was fun doing commentary. So I haven't just been involved in wrestling for 15 or more years. So this was like my first time back in that time.
Nice. And
just being around it again, it was like it just all came sort of back to me. Like, I'm not wrestling now, I'm just doing the commentary stuff. But just doing that as well, it was just like I'd never left, and it'd been so long.
Yeah.
And part of me did get the itch. I was like, I could probably still do it. I can't. I'm 42. I'm breaking down. I can't be taking bumps anymore. So I'm just going to be safely behind the commentary table watching you guys. Yeah,
like,
but
I'm falling apart.
It happens. But for people that maybe haven't sort of seen you, how long have you been wrestling? Where'd you get your start?
So I've been wrestling just over 5 years. I started at Phoenix in Coventry.
Right, yeah.
I started through TJ Sky. My partner knew TJ, knew I wanted to wrestle, introduced me to him, and then he took me along to the training. So it's all TJ Sky's fault.
Okay.
He took me to Phoenix. They taught me sort of all the basics, but it was all on mats.
Right.
But they, like, Psycho Steve taught me amazing stuff, but I felt it got to the point where I needed a ring.
Yes.
So I started to train at New Breed Wrestling.
Okay. Yep.
And I've been with New Breed and training with Full Force Wrestling since then. So they both train out of a unit in Leamington Spa, owned by Hotshot Joey Scott.
Right.
So I train technically between the two, but it's Full Force's unit.
Okay.
So yeah, 5 years.
Nice.
Technically started in Coventry, training Leamington Spa, trainings every Tuesday.
Right.
And every Sunday. So if anyone wants to look it up.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, Chris, who's New Breed, he's one of my old trainees from back when I used to run a school and do shows.
I was going to ask you, because I did see that you were Banbury.
Yeah. So he trained under me and the guys that I ran the company with. and the BAWA back in the day. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's very incestuous, is wrestling. Everyone knows each other.
I train under Chris Baxter and TJ Scott Newbreed and Hotshot Joey Scott of Full Force, and they've all taught me very useful but very different things.
I think that's the best thing, though. If you can learn lots of different things from different people, that gives you good experience. Then you can find what works for you, your niche, and go from there. But yeah, just learning under one person is not necessarily a great thing. Yes, you can learn a lot, but getting experience from lots of places, that's the way to do it, I think.
Yeah, like I try and do as many seminars and stuff as I can, and
yeah, they're good.
Just try and get myself everywhere because I want to be good at it. So that's how I go.
Cool. So what made you, like, have you been a wrestling fan since you were a kid, or was it something that came to you a bit later?
I got into wrestling quite late. I must have been 12 or 13.
Right.
My auntie got me a wrestling video game.
Okay.
Just because she thought I'd enjoy playing it.
Right.
So I think it was like, I want to say SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. It was whichever one featured ECW.
Right.
Which got me into wrestling because I liked all the characters in the game. And then me, my dad, and my little brother used to watch SmackDown on Fridays with the Chinese.
Right. Nice.
And then sort of kept watching it as my little brother grew out of it, and then just stayed with it. And then when the opportunity came to actually train, I didn't start training until I was nearly 23.
Right.
So I wish I'd started earlier.
Yeah, I think no matter the age you start, you'd always go, I wish I'd started earlier. But you can be old. I mean, DDP didn't start wrestling until he was like late 30s, early 40s. So
yeah,
and he did all right.
The reasoning behind it was so stupid. I thought there'd be an issue because I'm openly queer.
Right.
And I had this thing in my head that it was going to be like a big issue and it was going to be a problem. No one had ever told me it would.
Right.
Or nothing had led to that, but I told myself in my head. So
yeah,
I just put it off. And then I started it and no one cares.
No, so, that's good.
Yeah.
I think with times are getting better with that sort of stuff as well. Like it's just a much more accepted thing, and like you say, it shouldn't be an issue at all. Like everyone's the same, and yeah, that's good that you haven't come across any sort of bad apples that do think that's an issue. That's good.
Yeah, no, everyone's always been sound about it, and it was all in my head of this would be an issue, but yeah, that's the reason I started quite late.
That's fair enough. But no, like you say, you say you started late. You're still young enough, you've been doing it 5 years. You can tell that you know what you're doing. You've got that, like I say, that connection's already established with the crowd. I mean, some of those people on our first show might not have ever seen you wrestle before, and they instantly gravitated towards you just because you have that character that you're portraying, and it worked really well. Like I'd seen your stuff online before. I hadn't seen you in person before, but I was entertained by what you were doing. So it's definitely working.
Yeah, it's just willingness to make a bit of a fool of myself in it.
Yeah, no, that's works. I mean, I love that sort of stuff. I mean, I do love serious wrestling. Like I'm a big New Japan fan, which does have a few comedy wrestlers in there, like Yano, things like that. But it's probably the more serious side. But yeah, I love ridiculous, daft wrestling as well. As much as I like serious wrestling, you need everything.
I think there's a time and a place for it all. I like to have a bit of a laugh because it makes it more fun. I can be serious when I need to be. I think I'm going to need to be serious against Kirby.
Yeah, I was going to come on to that. I mean, that's a hell of a match to have, because obviously Kirby's been kicking around the biz for a long time and is a respected name, especially in the British scene.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm absolutely pooing it. But I'm so excited. But I feel like it's definitely going to be a question of stepping up my game. I think it's going to be good for me, but
definitely,
it's scary.
You'll be fine. You're in very safe hands there, trust me. But no, that is going to be one of the matches I think I'm looking forward to the most from that show, just because, like you say, Kirby's such a character in the British scene. Everyone knows that name, even if you haven't necessarily seen him wrestle, you've heard of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should be good. I mean, he had a great outing in the the first show we did. He looked great, and people were behind him at first, and then when he cut his promo, they were dead against him. So hopefully he'll be going in there, the fan favorite on that one.
I hope so. I mean, it's like you said, he's a well-known British British wrestler, and everyone knows who he is, and he's well respected. And I'm gonna shove my groin in his face.
Well, don't give away your game plan right away.
So I think most people know my game plan. So, oh God, this is either going to make or break my career.
Yeah, you'll be fine. It'll be a great match. Like I say, looking forward to that one. Hell of a lot. So sort of getting back to your interest in wrestling, do you still sort of keep up with any wrestling promotions other than the ones you're involved in? Do you watch a lot of wrestling still?
I do. I watch a bit of everything. I go through phases of what I prefer to watch. I like New Japan. I keep up with WWE, but I don't watch it as much.
Yeah.
I like NXT, AEW. I quite like Impact. I think
Impact's really picked up.
Quite underrated.
The past sort of year or two, it's really sort of found itself, and it's not trying to compete with WWE. That was always its problem. It thought it was on that
now
sort
they're
of same
kind of
level.
doing their own thing, and it's been fun to watch them sort of find their footing again.
Definitely.
But I watch a bit of everything. If I can find an independent show I'm interested in, I'll sit and watch that as well. I just like watching wrestling.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's the best way. So what sort of wrestler? Who are the wrestlers you're kind of enjoying watching at the moment? Whether it be like big promotions or even indies and UK guys.
I'm going to sound really generic. Jonathan Gresham is just he's got to be like the best independent wrestler going.
Yeah, he's great.
He's not one. Well, I currently watch him, but he's one that I've always loved watching. Is Eric Young?
Okay.
Doing Violent by Design in Impact,
yes.
And when he was Sanity in WWE, and back in like 2008 when he was scared of his own pyro, and but it's just a bit of everyone. To list them, I don't really know off the top of my head. Just
that's nice because two good like people you've mentioned there that not everyone would necessarily say right away, and that's cool. Like you mentioned Eric Young, he got such a bad run when he brought up to the main roster in WWE. They just did nothing with him. Yeah. And you got this guy there who's been in the business so long, been everywhere, done everything, and they just couldn't find a spot for him. I think that's WWE's sort of issue in sort of the last sort of decade or so. They just don't want to push people that made their names elsewhere.
It's a weird one for me because one of the reasons I like him so much is because if you look at everything he's done over the years, he's literally done a bit of everything.
Yes,
he's done the comedy where he's been scared of his own pyro. He's led fun factions when he did the superhero gimmick. He's had serious factions when he did the World Elite and went crazy. He was a women's tag team champion.
Yes, he was.
Then he went insane because that's what they needed him to do. Then he went back to being serious. Then he went to the WWE and did what they needed him to do. And then he's gone back to Impact and used it and done what he's needed to do. He's over in the UK soon. And during April. And I'm like an excited child. He's legitimately one of my favourite wrestlers ever.
Awesome. Oh, that's good. I didn't realise he was over here. That's really cool.
So awesome. I've got to say, like all time is probably Mick Foley, but active wrestlers, he's got to be at least in the top 3.
Cool. That's great. Yeah, Foley is, like you mentioned, Foley there. He's obviously a legend. I started watching wrestling longer ago than I will admit. I just age myself completely when I'm doing these chats because everyone's like, I started watching wrestling as a kid in mid 2000. I'm like, oh God, I'm so old. But yeah, so I was watching Foley doing his WCW stuff and obviously into his WWE stuff. And yeah, again, it's such a versatile performer, can do the comedy stuff, can do the really serious, bloodthirsty stuff. And I think that's how you know a wrestler's a good wrestler, when they can be so versatile. And like you say, when someone calls them to do a certain thing, they don't shy away from it. They throw themselves into it and embrace it and do their best with it. And Eric Young and Foley are 2 prime examples of that.
Yeah. 100%. And I think if you actually look into it, you can see similarities between the two. Obviously, there's a different level because Foley went literally to the peak of where you could get to, but you can see quite a heavy relation between the two. Like the fact that Foley wrestled for as long as he did blows my mind, because even in the early 90s, he was taking insane bumps and just killing himself. So the fact that he sort of semi-retired in 2000, but then was able to keep going. I think he was still wrestling in 2008.
Yeah, he did some odds and sods pretty late on, really.
He wrestled for Impact for a little bit. And
he did, yeah.
Like, mental. So, yeah. Favourite of all time because he's a complete nutcase.
It's as good a reason as any. Good a reason as any. So obviously we mentioned your match with Martin Kirby coming up. In PW, obviously we've only done the one show so far. Is there anyone in that locker room that you're sort of keen to get in the ring with?
Honest, like, I'm going to sound really generic, but everyone.
Yeah.
I got to work the Fatal 4-Way with 3 amazing people, and I'd love to work with them all again. I'd like to work with Just Joe Lando because we were meant to, but things got changed last minute.
Right.
And he's insane. I'd like to work with Jim Diehard because I just think it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Like all the people that literally everyone. Like I want to work with literally all the female wrestlers that you've got there. All people I want to work with. I could just keep listing people off.
That's cool. It's a decent roster as well. It's a decent size. There's a lot of variety there, and a lot of people that have maybe fairly new to the industry. Some people that have been kicking around for a long time. So there's a lot of different experience levels, a lot of different matchups that you can have, and not every match is going to be the same for you, which is good. It's going to be exciting to see.
Yeah, just give me everyone. If nothing else, I'll learn from it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if it goes well, I'll beat them. But I want to work with everyone and anyone because, I want to work with the best.
Yeah.
Because I want to be part of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're well on your way, that's for sure. So before the show last time, when me and Dave were going around sort of getting ready for the commentary gig, you mentioned a podcast. Is that still something that you're doing? Yeah,
so I took a little breather from it because I've been quite busy.
Yeah.
But I run the Big Queer Wrestling podcast. It's just a podcast to chat rubbish with people and let them talk about who they are and what they do. And the original idea was LGBTQ workers, which I have, and I've made sure I've promoted as many of them as I can, and I want as many as I can on it. But I have just good wrestlers on it, good people, just to talk about themselves and what they plan to do and what they want to do, and just promote themselves and promote their friends and promote people they think are great. And it's just come back this week, and I had H Hood on it. It came out yesterday. Great. And it was a really fun chat with him about everything he's done and what he's done to train and where he's been and who he's worked with and the people that he gets to be around and how he got into wrestling. And it was just a chat, but it lets people see the wrestlers.
Yes. No, that's great. You need more stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of the big names have their podcasts and things like that, but for sort of up and coming wrestlers or wrestlers that people maybe haven't heard about as much, it's a great outlet for people to have, like say, have a chat and get their names out there, and hopefully it gets people coming to see the shows they're on and actually see them perform and follow them around a bit.
A show, a follow on Instagram, a YouTube search, like something that helps. It helps us all, doesn't it? So.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, that kind of wraps up the time we had, but thank you ever so much for joining me for a little chat. Obviously, it's April the 2nd, the next PW show, where you'll be facing Martin Kirby, so that's going to be a big match. Make sure you can get a ticket if you can. I think there's still some available, but they sell out fast.
Really quick.
Yeah. The first show was a great crowd as well. Like when we were doing commentary, we couldn't at times couldn't hear each other. That the crowd was so into it, which is great. It's what you want. So other than, before we sort of sign off, other than your podcast, is there anywhere that sort of people can follow you, Twitter, Instagram, or any of that?
I'm Jason Joshua Pro on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Jason Joshua on Facebook. I do have a TikTok, but I don't really use it. I just use it to watch other people's videos and waste 2 hours. So, and the Big Queer Wrestling Podcast, if you search the Big Queer Wrestling Podcast, it comes up because it's quite a unique name.
Perfect. Yeah, no, I'll definitely give that a listen.
And they can see everywhere I'm wrestling, because I've got 6 shows currently in April. So I'm a busy bee, but I want to be busier.
Yeah, definitely. Good to hustle. So yeah, if you are a promoter and you want to book you, you can obviously go to all those social medias, get in touch, and see if you got some space. But like you say, you're a very busy boy, so hopefully they can find a day where you're free and can fit them in. But yeah, thank you again for joining me. I'll see you on the 2nd of April.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool. No problems. Take it easy. I'll see you soon.